everyone, welcome to the Stamp Anything YouTube channel and another episode of Fanny Friday. I'm Misty, I'm a design team member. In today's video, we're going to be using Julie Let Your Dreams Set Sail from the recent release, Love Boat themed. There's a cruise ship, there's a wave stencil, we got some cute chibis. It's so adorable, and in today's video, I think you're really going to love this project. As a reminder, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already and turn on your post notifications. We are hoping to bump up content here on the YouTube channel, and also you will find all of the links in the description box down below. Instagram, Pinterest, the Facebook group, which you're going to want to join. I'm just saying. Stamp Club, Stencil Club, Grab and Go boxes. All of the information that you need is in the description box down below. So all of that said, let's head over to the craft table and I'll walk you through today's project. So I decided I wanted to have Julie be the person that helps get passengers on a Disney cruise ship. And initially I thought I would use these really cute mouse ear sequins, but I decided against it. But I do have a little snicky-picky. Now, if you've been around in the past, you've seen the Magical Celebrations box, or you probably have. It is a themed box all around chibi kids having fun at their favorite theme park. And that, along with several others, will be restocking soon. So keep an eye out, not only here on the YouTube channel, but on the Facebook page, Facebook group, Instagram, all of the places. We will be announcing when it goes live. I will also be sharing some unboxing so you can see exactly what comes inside. So, like I said, Julie is going to be on a cruise, and I decided I wanted to go ahead and make a shaped card. I haven't made a shaped card in a hot minute. So, if you have never done that before, all you need to do is pick whatever die you want to use. So I'm going to be using the cruise ship, and you need to decide on a card size. So a card base and a card size. I'm going to do 4 1/4 by 5.5. And I am bringing in some pre-scored, inexpensive card blanks that I already have that for my own crafting outside of Stamp Anything. And so it's not very high quality, anything like that. This was just my practice run. So you want to make sure that it is scored and folded. Then you want to make sure that part of your die hangs off the top. And this is the part that's not going to cut. Now, I have an electric die cutter, so I don't have to worry about it hanging outside of the plate. If you don't have an electric die cutter, this may need to hang out of the plate, and you can line up your plate with the top of the paper and not the top of the die. If there are tons of ways that you can do it, but that's really the easiest. But like I said, I don't have to worry about it, but this is what you would do if you had a regular cutting machine. You would just make sure that the top stuck out a little bit, and then you can run it through your die cutting machine. So I did it just to share with you, but since I have an electric die cutting machine, I don't need to do that. So once I share with you this, I end up running through something that's a bit more substantial. And yeah, I really like how that turned out. So I'm going to go ahead and do it with the regular one. You can see that at the top left. Then this is going to go on top of the front. So if this is like, if you were doing a different die and you wanted to add pattern paper, etc., you could do it this way. You'll always have just that little bit of the top hanging off. And yeah, we're going to go from there. So I am bringing in Julie, and I'm actually going to stamp her twice. I'm going to be using the Obsidian ink from Stamp Anything. But since she's new and I haven't stamped her before, I like to take the side that's actually going to touch the paper and just run that on the back of my hand. That prevents it from sticking to the cardstock, because nothing makes me annoyed with myself more is when I forget to do this, and then I'm trying to, ink up a stamp and it needs to be re-inked and the paper is moved and I haven't noticed and blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. And here I'm about to show you the colors that I'm going to be using. I will have them linked in the description box down below, but you can also pause and take a screenshot. If you watched Mel, I'm basically using the same colors, except he was bald and Julie has hair. So I've only sped this up 200%. So this is only 2 times as fast as I would normally color. But I am starting with E33, E21, and E30. And E33 is what I've put in, like where her hair would come over. Doesn't her hair remind you of Princess Diana? Like a little bit, maybe, when she had that fluffier hair? I don't know. To me, it does. So I went ahead and put in a little bit of the R20 for a little bit of blush to her cheeks. And you can see here, I'm not bringing the E21 very in, and that's because she's going to be blonde. And I want her to be a little bit lighter than I would normally color. One of my people images. So if she was going to be a brunette, I wouldn't have left so much space for E30. I would have brought E21 in just a little bit more. But since she's going to be a blonde, I went ahead and made the centermost part of her face a bit lighter than I normally would. And then for her limbs, for her legs, right underneath her skirt in the back of her legs is where I put the shadow, where the darkest part would be. For her hands, it was really mainly only the one that's holding the clipboard that got any kind of blending. The other one's just, there's just not, it's not a whole lot of space. So you can skip that part. You can skip that part. So I wanted to put her in navy and red. I completely forgot to mention that the logo you saw earlier is actually the logo of the Disney cruise logo. And the only reason why I know that, because I've never been on one, is a few years ago, well, actually it's probably been like 8 or 9 years now, I used to make handmade ornaments, and I would do whatever design you wanted on one side. And a friend of mine's like, hey, we're going to go on a Disney cruise for Christmas. Would you mind making me a Disney cruise Christmas ornament? I was like, sure, I don't mind. And so, yeah, and I cut out, I went ahead and cut out a small one that I am going to adhere to the ship a little bit later down the road. So that's why she's in red and blue, because it goes with the logo. Again, I don't have any idea what they wear. I've never been on a cruise. I probably will never go on a cruise. My husband gets really bad motion sickness, and I don't think a cruise would be a good idea. Maybe at some point in my life, some girlfriends or something will want to go on a cruise, but as it stands right now, I don't know that I'll ever get on one. So yeah, I couldn't decide on a pattern for the skirt. I just knew that I wanted it to be different than different from the navy. So I just ended up adding a little bit of a darker stripe. You can't even see it from here, and it doesn't show up on the finished project. Like I said, I just could not decide. I could have paper pieced it like I did Mel's shorts last week, but I just didn't want to. So for her shoes and for her shirt, I just used the R46. There's not enough room to add a whole lot of shading. You wouldn't even really be able to tell. So as I mentioned, I am making Julie a blonde. So I'm going to be starting with E34. I'm also going to bring in E33, and then I believe it's YR32. Again, I have the markers listed at the front, and they'll be in the description box down below. So her hair is different than what we normally see from a lot of the cheapies from Stamp Anything. So her hair actually would be darkest toward her face, and then it would lighten as we got toward kind of like the back of her head. Now, you don't have to color it this way at all. I mean, coloring is subjective. You can do it how you think that you like it completely, totally 100%. But you're just not going to see me do where the highlights are like kind of in the middle of the hair, because for this hairstyle, to me, the darkest is like at the front, and then where that little swoopity swoop is on the right hand side. And then it gets lighter as we get closer to the top of her hair, because that's all of that would be in the sun. It wouldn't necessarily be just a little section of her hair that's in the sun, again, to me. Now, I am never one that really pays a whole lot of attention to light source. To me, it's almost always top down or just where I think the shadows would go and how they would look. If you want to be if you want to be more technical about it, go right ahead. I know some of our designers, pick out a light source and they color in that direction. But for me, again, I just like the color and I don't like coloring to be too complicated. So that's what I do. So this is the lightest color and I am flicking this, but I'm not going all the way to the top. So I'm going to do this a couple of times. I'm going to start with the dark, transition to the middle. Then I went back to the dark, came back to my midtone. And now I've done dark, midtone, and now I'm adding light. And then I'm going to go over it one more time. And again, you don't have to color it in this way, but to me, this is what makes the most sense. So, and again, like I said, it kind of reminds me of Princess Diana. I don't know why. Probably because I've been watching a ton of royal stuff with the passing of Queen Elizabeth. And it's like, once you watch one thing on YouTube, you know how it is. Then you get recommended 900 different things. So I've watched a lot and listened to the royals. And I don't know if I've told you guys on this channel, but when I craft, I always have my phone off to the side. Sometimes you'll see the cord or whatever, and I will turn on just something that's kind of long form. That's why I love creators or channels that have hour or so long creations, as long as it's not just set to music, because I can just turn it on and listen and not worry about it. Like I don't have to really pay that much attention. I can, really be concentrating on my coloring, but also here I'm looking. Here we go. I have something on in the background. And that's just my tip. I know some designers color, in the living room or when they're watching TV, at the table, etc. So yeah. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in the mouse ears. Oh, I meant to say I did I did die cut a second Julie because the part of her body is going to hang off the back of the boat. You're going to be able to see the back of her body off the boat. I wanted it to just be plain white. So I'm actually going to color her ears on both sides too. So I'm just using the same blues. She's going to have a navy ears and then a red bow. So just starting with the navy, working my way up so it's 39, 37, and then 24. And then just going over it a couple of times. And the cool thing about this is because the paper is so saturated, when you flip it over, you don't really need to blend much at all. So that is my tip from me to you. If you're going to do a shaped card like this, or if you're going to have something that hangs off the side that you've colored and you don't have a card, like I use the Hammermill 100 pound. I know that some companies manufacture paper that won't bleed through, but to me this is just easier. I'd rather just do it on both sides and call it done. And again, just starting it with darkest at the band and then working my way back up. I'm actually going to end up trimming this, so I didn't need to color all of it, but I didn't realize that at the time. Hindsight is 2020. And I'm just doing this on a scrap piece of paper. I like to color on paper. I just feel like I get a better blend when I do that. I know a couple of people have mentioned it, like not just people, but like artists who deal with alcohol markers, or like if you color on top of a porous surface, it'll help blend. And I'm like, teach me your ways. Teach me your ways. So we've got some blue mouse ears, and then I'm going to bring in the bow. So I'm going to start with the darkest color in the middle. So I'm using R59, R46, R35. This is my absolute favorite color combination for red. If I want something a bit brighter, I will start with 46, 35, and then I think I go to 32, either 32 or 24. I'm not using that today, but if I want something a bit brighter, I'll start there. But for the bow, and I probably could have added polka dots, but I didn't want to chance it. Hey, gel pens. Gel pens. Sometimes they will work with you, but a lot of times they will work against you. And I was not about to ruin all this coloring with messing it up with the gel pen. So I just skipped it. But as you know, or maybe you don't know, Minnie Mouse is most recognizable, I think, for her red with polka dot. I actually have a Minnie Mouse sweatshirt that's red. It's black and with white polka dots, but she has a red bow with white polka dots. I think I still have that sweatshirt. Huh. I'm going to have to check my closet because now I don't remember. Oh, and one thing to note is you want to make sure that you get color on the outer edge of your die cut. So, and I'm going around it. Sorry, it's off camera, but I got to be able to see it in my face. That way you don't have any of the white core showing. All right, so this is what Miss Julie looks like with her ears on. And I didn't have to trim it, but I just felt like it looked a bit better. Like maybe it was tucked into her hair. And I really only needed glue on the band, but I went ahead and put it on the ears as well. And this is just the Stamp Anything glue. Glue, glue, glue. And then I'm going to bring in the little tiny spot of the bow that pops up. It's little tiny and baby, so don't lose it when you die cut. But, and you could skip this part, you could color it different or whatever, but I do like the little bit of definition that it gives. And I'm just using a glue dot with a brad setter. I use a pokey tool. Sometimes I use a brad setter. I'm bringing in a quick stick. Like, my most used tools over to the side. All right, now let's work on the rest of the card. So I knew that I wanted a railing because I wanted to look like Julie is like at the dock and I didn't want to have to mess with that. So just like with Mel, since this is so thin, I don't want to fuss with glue. So I like to use the adhesive strips. These are from Sizzix, but I did find some on Amazon that are just no name. They're off brand. So if I test those out, I'll let you guys know if they work out because they're way bigger and they're way more inexpensive. So I'm going to add it to this as well. Again, just because I don't want to mess with glue. There's too many pieces. And again, you can use glue, but I'm messy. I'm messy. I'm messy. I don't want to. So I'm going to go ahead and use some washi tape to get that added to the glitter paper. And this is just some of that glitter paper that doesn't shed. I think it's, don't let me lie to you. Don't let me lie to you. So I cut those both at the exact same time, but I'm going to go ahead and take this out of the die. So I want this, again, to have a backing. So first I'm going to adhere it to some vellum because I want it to look like windows. And then I'm going to cut around that. And then I'm going to use the same paper and do the same method, except I'm going to die cut from the back of the paper. That way, when I turn it the right way, it will fit behind the other one and they'll be going the same direction. And when you flip the card over, both sides will have the silver showing. So I went ahead and did it the exact same way as I did it before. You just adhere the die from the back. And I had to run it through a few times, but I was able to get it done. So you can see here, I'm just trying to figure out where I'm going to adhere it. And then I realized that I don't want those because I want it to look like clear windows. So I'm only adhering the bottom because that is what will go on the actual cruise ship. And I'm going to go ahead and leave the rest as is. And then I'm going to peel off the back. See how easy it is? It's just so easy. It's just so easy. Well, I hadn't peeled it off, sorry. It's just so easy because you hadn't even done it yet, Misty. I'm sorry. So, yeah, cutting it backwards. So if you have a die and you want something on both sides, just cut backwards. So I went ahead and moved my, I don't know if that's cardstock or chipboard. I couldn't really tell you. And we're going to get our lovely things adhered. So this is my thought for the lay out like where Julie's going to go, etc. So I'm going to bring in a micron pen. You could also use a Copic or a different marker for this, but I added a bit more black to her eyes, and I'm deciding where she's going to go, where I need to put glue, and then I'm going to go ahead and adhere the logo down. And once I get both of them adhered, that's it. That's the end of the card. I am going to add some Nouveau shimmer pen just because I can't not. I love a bit of shimmer, and come on, it's the Magic Kingdom on a boat. It's the Magic Kingdom on a boat. Fun fact, like my dream for our 10-year anniversary, we were supposed to go to Disney at Christmas because like that's what I want to do. Unfortunately, we weren't able to make it, but someday, somehow, I would like to make it to Disney at Christmas. So friends, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate you. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Next week, we'll start previews for the October release. So thank you so much for joining me today, guys. We really do appreciate you. Leave me a comment down below letting me know if you've been on a cruise or a Disney cruise. I would love to know. And we will see you next week for the first previews for the October release. Bye for now.